Gracias, Dani, Lisa, Fabrizio, thank you. Dani, Lisa, Fabrizio, good afternoon, everybody. Well, first of all, congratulations to Ship2B for this terrific event. We're talking about almost 3,000 people attending this Impact Forum during this week. Great success, and of course it is an honor to be part of this Impact Forum and to be part of this large impact community that Ship2B has been building over the last years, and it's, as we speak, exploding. No? As investors, we have a huge responsibility to support people, to support companies, to get the best out of themselves. No? We are accountable for our actions, and we will discuss with Cliff about that in a couple of minutes. And at the same time, we have the power to influence on the decisions that we take or that should be taken, no? To address the sustainability as a core issue in our businesses, not only as investors, but governments, institutions, customers, and the society in general are paying a very close attention to this matter. And this is not anymore a matter of ticking boxes in our ESG objectives. It's a matter of integrating impact and sustainability in our core. I am very, very pleased to embark on this little trip today with Cliff Pryor, with whom we're going to talk about impact investment, what works and what doesn't work. For those of you who don't know Cliff is probably, together with Ronnie Cohen, one of the great personalities in the impact arena globally. I would call him one of the fathers of impact investment, and his the track record and his last 3 decades are a clear proof of that. Cliff is currently the CEO of the Global Steering Group on Impact Investment, the independent global steering group catalyzing impact investment and entrepreneurship to benefit all people on our planet, with a growing movement in 32 countries right now. Before that, previously, Cliff was the CEO of Big Society Capital, the UK's wholesale social impact investor and market developer. Also the CEO of Unlimited, the UK Foundation for Social Entrepreneurs, and the CEO of Rethink for people affected by severe mental illness, and has also worked in the fields of healthcare, elder care, social housing, and homelessness. So as you can see, a very impressive track record and experience that Cliff will share with us today. Last but not least, Cliff has also participated as a government regulator and advisor across several social issues, and has co-founded social enterprises. Well, with nothing more to add, I will introduce you to Cliff Pryor. Cliff, the stage is yours.
Thank you very much indeed. Thank you very much indeed. Really delighted to be with you. Thank you very much for the opportunity to speak at Ship2B. And after that introduction, I feel very tired and very old. There must be so much going on. So as has been said, I'm CEO of the Global Steering Group for Impact Investment. And now I'm very pleased to say that it is now more than 32 countries participating in this. It's now actually just arrived. I've just got to press a button here. It's now arrived at 33 countries as we've managed to get Holland, even in these difficult times, Holland to join in. So a growing movement, including in Spain, 14 more countries in the pipeline, all of them catalyzing impact investment and enterprise to benefit people and our planet. Our aim is that measurable impact is embraced as a deliberate driver in every investment, every government and every business decision. Impact investing is an exciting, a rapidly growing industry. It's determined to generate social and environmental impact as well as financial returns. It's taking place all over the world, all kinds of investments, all kinds of companies and governments. And we're seeing very rapid progress on impact, expecting the first $1 trillion in impact investment by the end of this year. And in my home country in the UK, where we mapped developments very carefully over 6 years, 20% year-on-year increase across the 6 years. So impact is moving now. It's moving from pioneer funds to boutique and to mainstream, with more and more of the major global asset managers creating impact funds. Also development finance institutions starting to use impact investing. And over 100 sign-ups to the IFC's operating principles for impact management, the IFC being an arm of the World Bank. The broader field of ESG, environmental, social and governance-based investment, is now shooting up in terms of, let me just get this, shooting up in terms of now reaching 1/3 of all listed assets in Europe. ESG is outperforming legacy funds, and the demand for ESG data has increased 5 times in the last couple of years. Social bond sustainable bond issuance has doubled in 12 months. Major listed companies are setting out pathways to sustainability and impact. You know, this is very clearly the new future. But this year, of course, COVID has hit, and it's hit almost every country in different ways. A health emergency in Europe, creating economic chaos all over the world, with the greatest harm hitting people on low incomes and insecure jobs. 100 million people in the world already pushed into extreme poverty at a starvation level because of COVID-19. And the current estimates are that could reach 500 million people. 880 million people still live in slums, and that's a number which continues to rise. It isn't reducing over the years. The need for reskilling, rebuilding our health and education systems, global supply chains, the need to address the burning issues of our time, this nearly 1 billion people without a secure home, the increasing disparity of wealth and income, the staggering disparity of life expectancy, how to get the vaccines to all parts of the world. You know, because with a pandemic, no one is safe, no country is safe until everyone and every country are safe. It will just come back. We've built impact investing for a purpose, and this is our purpose. We must make sure that the COVID crisis is a turning point towards more inclusive and impactful economies. The GSG believes that the time is now for a just and impact-led recovery to benefit all people and our planet. That's our job. It's what we're here for. It's our duty to do everything we can with the tools that we've built for impact. And we're not alone. As the GSG, Imperative 21, the World Economic Forum's Great Reset, more and more initiatives in this line. And we've managed over the last few months to bring together all of the major market builders for the impact economy, all in common cause to achieve this decent recovery with justice, social and economic justice. At our recent summit, we had leader after leader standing up and with a just and impact-led recovery. Over 600 people signed a leader's declaration for this, 80 of them globally recognized figures in their fields. To take an example, Kristalina Georgieva, who's the CEO of the International Monetary Fund, said that financial stability will depend on environmental and social sustainability in the post-COVID world. We're hearing from major corporate leaders, heads of global asset managers. Impact is now in the boardroom, it's being discussed, and now it's time to build the road to use it. So we need to remove the roadblocks that are in the way. One of those roadblocks is governments, getting understanding in governments, switching negative and environmentally damaging subsidies towards positive social and sustainability policies, improving the regulatory regimes, opening up pensions for impact. These are all underway in so many countries now, and the impact movement can offer to help tools of impact investing to front fund some of those recovery initiatives. Because we do have some of the most useful tools in the post-COVID crisis, social outcome contracts for reskilling people as the economy revives and rebuilding education and healthcare systems, early stage investing for small and medium-sized businesses, the tech for good movement, accelerating new ideas for successful impact companies. So there's a lot of opportunity there, and we're now getting clarity on something that has been really important for the survival and development of the impact field, and that's clarity on impact itself. There is now growing coherence around impact standards and reporting systems, and that's led by the outstanding, just get it here, Impact Management Project, a forum for organizations to build consensus on how to measure, assess and report impacts on environmental and social issues. It has a practitioner community of over 2,000 organizations working towards adoption and to debate and find consensus, and a structured network, which you're seeing here on the screen, a structured network of the 16 most important global standard setters. They're coordinating efforts to provide a complete suite of standards for impact measurement, assessment, and reporting. Just recently, the IFRS, that's the global accounting body, has put out a consultation on sustainability disclosures. The EU is working on non-financial reporting. The direction is clear. Impact reporting is going to be required, and it's not far off now for listed organizations. The combination of assessing risk, return, and impact is becoming more and more common. It's becoming common amongst asset owners, asset managers, corporates in Europe and America. It's rapidly becoming the norm. It's spreading across continents, particularly because companies and investors see the need for greater resilience. You know, the COVID crunch, the environmental damage, we see forests burning, we see hurricanes and typhoons stronger, we see floods in Northern Europe. You know, these environmental, health and social shocks come faster each year, and companies and investors are now looking for the long term. They're looking for that resilience. Here at the GSG, we're also working on transparency, on the social and environmental factors, using IMP standard setters for rigorous data, and through the impact-weighted accounting initiative, turning those factors into financial figures. The world is pushing ever harder for transparency. We know that there's been a massive loss of trust in governments, in investors, in corporates, in institutions of all kinds. And we've seen how shareholders are voting. We're seeing how customers are demanding to know what is in your company, what's in your value chain. And the impact-weighted accounts initiative turns the goods and bads of a company's work into a dollar number. And that makes it accessible to the general public. And this isn't a burden for companies and fund managers. This is a positive opportunity. It's what savers and communities want, consumers want. It's a useful business tool to drive out, for example, unnecessary use of carbon to improve the efficiency of your company. Some of the biggest future growth sectors are impact sectors. Healthcare, education, aging society, homes, environment, food and agriculture, financial inclusion, reskilling of jobs. These have intrinsic impact value. And we've seen in the last decade how new impact initiatives can transform lives, particularly in low-income countries. For example, microfinance, M-Pesa, use of mobile money, reaching hundreds of millions of people who previously had no access to financial sector at all. So I've been asked to take a look at what it means for you and for people in different situations as this movement progresses. And for students, I would say take every opportunity you can to take an impact investing module. It's the future, and if you've got entrepreneurial spirit, if you see if your university has got a social entrepreneurs club. In the UK, we built a network of clubs like that, covering half the universities in the entire country. If there isn't one near you, Spain Unlimited offers a countrywide program. Being a social entrepreneur or working alongside, joining to help a social entrepreneur on an issue that you're passionate about, this is one of the most valuable learning experiences you will ever have. It builds capabilities that will serve you for life. And I say that from the heart, because my first pretty poor social enterprise was at age 19. My most successful one was at age 25. But it gives you just that courage and entrepreneurial skill set to do all kinds of things, whether you become an entrepreneur or go in other fields. It's with you all the time. For employees and companies, where are the jobs that are going to take you to new heights in the future? And it's going to be impact-focused companies and investment funds that will flourish in the next decade. The COVID crisis has caused huge damage. Over 1 million people dead and more every day. And, our hearts go out to every single family affected. Economic catastrophe, the growing unemployment, the mental health problems with lock-ins. Some business sectors have collapsed, but out of these crises come the new entrepreneurs, the new opportunities for companies, the new entrepreneurial companies, which will create the social and sustainable future based out of the crisis. If you're more of a techie, tech for good is booming, and the new impact management systems will require skilled, data-savvy employees and consultants for that move. For investors, if you're already into impact and ESG, great. If not, take a look. Surveys are suggesting that between 1/3 and 2/3 of all savers and pension contributors want to see their savings in line with their values. It's even higher with millennials, and new campaigns. Make My Money Matter is the one in the UK. It's spreading out. Australia's taken it up, for example. These are making savers demand better. And then the media, we're just starting to see mainstream media wake up to the changes that are happening. The Financial Times is covering social entrepreneurship, impact enterprises, impact investing. They're amazing stories to take on media. And on our side, as impact investors, we need to sharpen our act on making our work more accessible and engaging. And then finally, academics. Academics will train the future workforce in impact enterprises and impact investors. You can map what's happening. You can show where effort is needed, where the opportunities are. So although this is a new world, we are at an inflection point, and it's an inflection point big or bigger than the digital revolution. We have new tools that can help solve the most important challenges of our people and planet. So join now, I would say. I'm being super positive here. I don't want to pretend there aren't obstacles and challenges. It won't be all plain sailing. Some challenges are from COVID, some pre-existing. Sometimes it's pre-existing that COVID speeded up. If you're looking geopolitical, the rise of Asia over the West, which was going to be a 10 or 20 year thing, is happening in 1 or 2 years. And attitudes may be quite different there. The level of digital transformation has speeded up massively. We're talking on one right now. The misuse of big data, of AI, of genomic manipulation. There's a lot to sort out, but although there are challenges, there are opportunities. We've got to sort out impact, integrity, and reporting. We've got to sort out the mismatches, particularly in sub-Saharan Africa and Southeast Asia, where mainstream money is big money, and most of the enterprises, over 80% in Africa, are SMEs, small and medium-sized enterprises. We have to find a way to connect between those two. Mainstream investors often want a level of liquidity, which isn't a good fit for new impactful enterprises. We need to fix these mismatches. It's one of the projects that I was working on at Big Society Capital before I left in May, where we were bringing together a portfolio of individually small social enterprises, putting that into a basket, blending it with ESG liquid investments, and making it feasible for mainstream investors to buy into that. I mentioned this mismatch about fund flows in Africa. Money goes from development finance institutions to African banks and gets no further. Why? The terms demanded, the risk tolerance, the due diligence costs, it just doesn't work for the SMEs. And we have to sort that out. We are, as I've said, not brilliant at the moment about having a clear narrative for impact investing. We too often speak to within our own bubble, if you like. We need to tell better stories, and we need to become better storytellers. So all of those challenges, but as a movement across the impact sector, we can solve these, and we are working as a GSG. We're working with the Collaborative for Frontier Finance to address the Africa challenge with a demonstration project, working to bridge enterprises to mainstream investors, helping to open up pension funds to impact, making impact investing understandable with communications initiatives, a clarity of impact reporting, helping the most forward-looking investors and corporates to develop a positive impact future, showing how social justice and environmental justice are now inextricably mixed, and offering up these impact investing tools to governments to help build a resilient recovery. We've seen some fabulous new initiatives just in this week. In the UK, a green plus sovereign bond issue, creating the jobs to mitigate climate damage. And the first country also to require mandatory sustainability reporting. The EU's €500 billion recovery fund, which includes sustainability measures. And rather wonderfully, the USA will be back on the COP26 process. That's the environmental process. So, our job is to use investment for social and sustainable good. We've achieved so much recently. We can make these final steps. We can contribute to the recovery that we all want to see. We can help solve some of the social and sustainable solutions that our people and planet demand. Impact is your chance, it's your opportunity. It's for you and for your families. It's for all people and our planet. Impact is for your better world. Thank you. Thanks for this opportunity, and I'll stop there.
Thank you, Cliff, for your words. Clearly, two takeaways from what you've just said is that the impact movement is becoming massive and unstoppable, but at the same time, that the COVID-19 is hitting hard some of the target objectives, geographies, sectors, and projects of impact investment, and therefore there's more reason than ever to focus resources into impact investment, because a part of the world and some of the most impacted sectors will need that impact investment not come back from the difficult situation they have got into over the last few months. We have, Cliff, a few questions from the audience that I would like to ask you. And the first one has to do with actually the title of this conversation, which is within impact investment, what works and what doesn't work. No? We are seeing in yesterday's session, in today's session after this panel, many discussions around what is the clear definition of impact investment, and therefore what works in impact investment and what doesn't really work. What's the sort of the GSG position on this topic?
Yeah, so I think for quite a while, for a few years, there was a sense of a bit of a battle going on between two very different approaches for impact investing. One of which had been going for easily 2 decades, which was social entrepreneurs creating social enterprises and being invested by venture philanthropists and concessionary investors who were not expecting a market return. And this was small scale. It reached some of the very tough, very important social issue areas. I was very much involved in that when I was at Unlimited, and with colleagues in Unlimited Spain and elsewhere. And then the other one, which came more recently, maybe starting about 3 years ago, was mainstream asset managers creating billion-dollar impact funds, and saying you can get market rate return and do really important social and environmental impact. And there was quite a battle of views going on with this. And certainly in the early days of the mainstream actors, some of their impact approaches were, let's say, at best impact light. In some cases, it was apparent that they'd sort of jumped on a bandwagon and didn't really know how the bandwagon worked. That has changed massively. It's changed absolutely massively. The energy that mainstream asset managers have put to really understand the impact that they're creating and be able to credibly report it, that has changed enormously. I was very worried 2 years ago about impact integrity. And whilst it's still a concern, I can see a pathway where this is going to work. To me, both of these worlds are really important. And in order to tackle, let's just say the millions of people across Europe who are going to be unemployed and out of a job because the businesses they worked in have collapsed with COVID, to reskill and to rebuild new enterprises, you are going to need mainstream investors, for sure, and it will be a very important impact piece. But helping people with profound learning disabilities in small numbers, really one-on-one connection, that is not the job of mainstream actors. That's the job of social investors, venture philanthropists. All of this is necessary, and we need to get beyond shouting about this side of impact doesn't work, this side of impact does work, etc., and just understand that there are different issues required. I had a Twitter thread yesterday with somebody who was saying, "Oh, this green plus sovereign bond that's been launched in the UK, that's lovely, but what about our community? What about micro enterprise into a different disadvantaged community?" And I say yes, absolutely, both of these are absolutely necessary. And you wouldn't, thinking about the metrics and the systems and the standards, you don't take a ruler to try and measure a mountain, and you don't use a telescope to try to see what's on this sheet of paper. You have to use the right tools for the right circumstances, and we need all of this spectrum. Sorry, I've gone on a bit there. Sorry.
No, thank you. Thank you for that. Another very important question. You know that probably we have over 1,000 attendees from Spain. In Spain, we are now at a crucial moment with regards to the impact investment and the impact economy in general. You have seen the development of impact investing in the UK over the last 2 decades. What would be your recommendations to develop the impact economy in Spain for governments, for investors, for charities, for businesses? Those tips that you think have been extremely helpful in the UK to accelerate the boost of impact investing in your country?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, one of the things that I learned from global work, Unlimited created a global network of social entrepreneur supporters. At Big Society Capital, we created a regular webinar series for other countries that are trying to create a wholesaler. One of the things that I learned about this is that having a well-rounded ecosystem of support is much more useful than having one great flagship. The ecosystem is really the thing. So that's, the supply of capital, the demand for capital, the intermediation, the regulation, the fiduciary duty areas, having enough, sort of awareness, communication, marketing, etc. All of these things are important. And it's, as I say, it's more useful to have enough of everything than to have some massive standout. The other thing that I've seen is examples in country after country. What you see is somebody is brave enough to launch the first impact fund in their country, and within a year there's a dozen more. I've got this view that investors are herd animals. They don't want to be the first, but when somebody has stepped forward as the first, everybody else rushes into it. That's what we've seen in the US. We've seen it in the UK and in Netherlands. In France, it's had a different backing because of the solidarity economy approach. But I would say, Spain. I know directly from conversations with two major financial institutions that they are on the verge of this, and I think that will break through.
Absolutely. Cliff, we have a few other questions, but I'm afraid we're running out of time. Thank you very much for your time. Thank you very much for sharing with us your thoughts and your experience. And we hope to see you next year in our Impact Forum.
And at that point, you'll be announcing impact funds, I am sure. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Cliff.